Thank you so much. And you were close. So actually, I lead our Atlanta office, which has covers Atlanta, Alabama, and Tennessee. I've been with Accenture 25 years, and we're broad in terms of what we focus on, broad across industries. We go from all the way from strategy all the way to consulting, technology, and outsourcing. So that was kind of a sliver of my background, which has been supply chain and technology has been my background. So that's the key right there. And we actually work with most of the top Fortune 500 companies. So we don't work with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, but we work with corporations that are looking for small and medium-sized businesses. And we also do a mentoring program with small and medium-sized businesses. So that's the connection there. So just because I'm new to Thai, if you all could help me out a little bit, just by a show of hands, can you tell me how many people in the room are entrepreneurs? And how many are entrepreneurs of a small or medium-sized business? That's what I thought. So really, what I think we'll do today, if this is okay with you, is have a conversation. Because I want to make sure that this conversation is valuable to you. And so, interestingly enough, being the topic being supplier inclusion or diversity, or developing a DE&I board of advisory board, well, as I look around the room, I don't see as much diversity as what our clients usually ask for. So, but that's just visible diversity. There's diversity of thought, which is so important. There's diversity that the kind that you don't even see just by looking at someone. And so I only mention that to say that we have brought more women in the room. Me and our panel are all women, so this is diversity of gender. And so because I know some of them, I'm going to ask them to kind of chime in a little bit earlier, if that's okay with you. So we might end up making this a Keynote panel mix. Would you be okay if we mix it up a little bit? All right, so we're going to mix it up a little bit. Because what I'm going to give you is the perspective of someone that works with large companies. Because what I found is most difficult, in my experience, for small and medium-sized businesses is navigating the landscape of finding other partners, navigating the landscape of, if you're interested in, working with Fortune 500 companies. It's not, is your business good? It's how do I navigate so that other people will know how good my business is, and of course, help me scale and grow my revenue base. Is that kind of the perspective that you all have in the room? Okay, so that's the perspective I'm going to talk to you from. Cecily Brown runs our North America Supplier Inclusion and Diversity Program. So I brought a rock star with me. So I'm going to ask her to come share the stage with me because she hears a lot of this every day, because what happens is we have, I would say, externally recognized one of the world's top diverse supplier mentoring programs. And I would say that's recognized in lots of spaces, right?
Award-winning, yes. Award-winning.
So, and I don't say that to brag. I say that because I want you to understand that we're here in a capacity of being able to kind of share with you not only some of the tips we see that we advise the people in our program, but also some of the mistakes that we hear people making. And so hopefully that'll save you from making any of those mistakes. So when we talk about inclusion and diversity, ooh, I get the clicker. Let me see. I'm running the show now. Hold on. All right. So when we talk to big corporations, we ask them, like, they ask us, what is a supplier inclusion diversity program? A lot of times they ask us, how do we build one? Because they don't have one. So we know a lot of companies have made statements and said, we're going to do more in the community. Over the last few years since the pandemic, we want to build a program. And then you've seen some of that kind of retracting with kind of recent news and kind of the current economic conditions. So, but there's still a lot of companies that want to do the right thing. And the question is, why? Why do they want to do the right thing? And so Paul and I were talking about this earlier. We were talking about this earlier, right? And Eamon and I were talking about this as well, is that it's really about diversity first of thought. So building a diversity supplier program, or for you, building a diverse advisory board, brings in perspective of customers that you may not typically have access to or relationships with. It brings in perspective of employees, because you want to make sure that you've got the right employees. And so these are the things that we look at. We go, wow, is that company diverse? What does their employee base look like? Are they thinking about things that maybe my customers would think about, because they are a diverse company? So it's really thinking about your stakeholders and the stakeholders that you want to serve, or if you're partnering with a big company, thinking about the stakeholders that they serve, so that you can help them grow and scale their business by being such an important part of it. Does that make sense? Okay. So what we hear is, for us, supplier inclusion and diversity is about mentoring small and medium-sized businesses and equipping them to navigate within larger clients of ours. And so somebody says, well, a company like Accenture, why would they be working with small and medium-sized businesses? Because that's not what they do. Well, sometimes it is what we do, but a lot of times it's the companies that are, reached a certain point and they're ready to scale. And Noelle can talk about this with me, and that's why I said we might mix in the panel a bit, because she ran our ventures program where we brought in small and medium-sized businesses. And a lot of that was about, are they at the level to scale? But what if you're not at that level? What if you're at a smaller level? What are some of the things that are important? So one of the things that we tell people, people within companies that are trying to figure this out, because there have been a lot of commitments made, but what we've seen in a lot of these companies is they don't know how to execute on those commitments. So we tell them it helps them with their stakeholders, it helps them with their communities, and I'm so used to not having the clicker. Prioritizing supplier diversity helps them with their knowledge base, customer connection, it helps them with their market share, and it helps them, bottom line, attract more employees. Am I missing anything?
No, so far so good.
We also tell them that enterprises that focus on diverse suppliers generate 133% greater return on investment. And it's because of those reasons on the prior page, right? Because they understand the market, they understand the employee base, and they end up having more ideas than they would have had on their own. To me, it's common sense. It seems plain and simple, so I'm not going to make it complicated. But we also tell them that it will help in the community, because companies, the millennials and the Gen Zs, they want companies to, when these companies are attracting employees, the employees are looking for companies that help make an impact in the communities that they serve. So that's simple, right? Same principles. So, and we know that $1 million in spend with diverse suppliers or small and medium-sized businesses can create as many as 10 new jobs. So that's basic math, something that everybody kind of understands when we help them build their programs. So with that said, even if you're going to some of these companies, the question is, what do you need to do? How can you increase your diverse perspective? Or how do you show up more diverse if you're not a diverse company? And what I've talked to some people in the room about is mentoring. Some people mentor small and medium-sized businesses that are diverse. Some people go in the community. So if their company itself is not as diverse, they can talk about their community story and talk about what they're doing in the community to make a difference. Even when I was at an event probably, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I went to an event sponsored by the Atlanta Business League. There were some top CEOs in the room. One was being honored. And one of the things that she really liked about one of the entrepreneurs that spoke was that entrepreneur not only takes care of business for herself, it was a female entrepreneur, but that entrepreneur is making a difference for other entrepreneurs in the community. And so that is really a selling point. is that ability to give back, ability to make a difference. In fact, Cecily will tell you that for our program, that's one of the requirements. But we also know, and these are the things I talked about, customer loyalty, 82%, 70% higher purchasing power. We know that the population is growing. It's becoming more and more diverse. So from 2020 to 2045, with America's growing population, the purchasing power of minorities is going to increase by 70%. And we talked about this, but these are the numbers behind it. 52% of individuals want to work for a diverse organization. Some of the times, even on my contracts with my large clients, they'll ask me, Chloe, I'd like to increase my diverse spend. You know, can you help me think of any diverse suppliers? So either they'll come through working with us, or I might make recommendations. And that's a way also. So one of the keys that we always tell people is you never know who you're going to be. You never know the connections that they have. I know you all know the importance of networking, but I get a lot of people that come up to me and they go, well, you know, can I take you out to dinner? Can I do this? And you know, I think it's important to get to know someone. But what I don't like to do is waste people's time, waste people's money. And so it's really about not only just networking, but asking the right questions as you do that networking, just really getting to know the person. And that person could probably connect you, even if they can't connect you within their organization, they can connect you to others. So those are the stats. We know that, and this isn't even a stat on this page, but I think it's on a different page. I'm not sure if I included it, but 61% of CEOs are involved in supplier diversity. We know many companies think about the diversity roundtable. These are the companies here on the slide that have announced or enhanced their supplier diversity goals in the last couple of years. So big companies, names that you know. Many companies have stepped up their efforts to work with more minority and women-owned businesses. And if you think about that, and if we look around, the question is, what if your business doesn't have any women as part of it? What is a simple thing you can do? I'd say, I mean, it was one of the points that I had earlier, but it's simple. Collaborate. Collaborate with the company that does and come in together if there's synergy in the offering that you offer. Because, again, a lot of times what we're seeing is that diversity matters. I'm stuck. Oh, here we go. So, as I said, we have multiple partnerships. I just wanted to show this here because these are some of the organizations. TIE seems to be a phenomenal organization, so thank you for the introduction to TIE. But these are some of the other organizations that we work with. So when you think about where do companies go, where do big companies go to look for small and medium-sized businesses, these are some of the places that we go as we think about that. And I don't know, Cecily, if you'd add some more to that.
Yeah, so actually these are the certifying bodies that Accenture and most major corporations are connected or affiliated with as corporate members. When we're looking for minority businesses, we go to the NMSDC, and so on, We Bank for Women, and so on and so forth. And I won't drain the slide, but from a global perspective, this is where corporates go. So certification is critical. It's really critical if you are a small business, diverse business. It's good to, invest in yourself and make sure that corporates know that you are who you say you are. And then I just wanted to include some helpful tips. And this is for anybody in the room. And I know we have a broad range of, company ownership and so forth. So as always, some of this is obvious, but do your research. I engage with suppliers every day. I'm at every diversity conference. If you come to NMSDC, We Bank, NGLCC, Disability In, so on and so forth, you will see me. If you're in Canada and you come to CAMSI and I'm there. So do your research. Don't let your tagline be, this is what I do. But my question is, what can you do for me? We're having a conversation, it's great, but what are you bringing to the table that makes you a standout? If you're a staffing company, There are millions of staffing companies. There are a lot of great staffing companies. But what makes you a standout? If you're a tech company, what makes you the best tech company? That's what we want to know. That's what I want to know. I am what I consider myself as the cheerleader. I champion for all small, medium, and diverse-owned businesses. But I can't champion if you're just like everyone else, because I'm coming back to the Chloes and other leadership saying, hey, I have this great company that does SAP. And they will look at me like I have a horn growing out of my head, because they're so, do you know how many SAP suppliers that we already have? So you have to do something that sets yourself apart. So think about that when you're putting that on your capability statement, that one pager that everyone loves to pass out and send those copies of. What is it that's gonna make me take notice that I can pass on to someone else? And then I would also say that goes back to your superpower. Don't be everything to every corporation. Do what you do well and stand on it. If you only do one great thing, be confident in that one great thing. That's your selling point. That is what we want to know about. Don't try to, I just want to get my foot in the door kind of mentality, and then when I get in there, because you get one shot. Corporations have a lot of suppliers to choose from. I was on a call today. I was told that we have 12,000 suppliers in North America. That's a lot of suppliers. So if you're coming in and you're thinking you're gonna be, I'm just gonna do what I need to do to get in the door, you miss that opportunity, the door's gonna close.
It's the starting point.
Yeah.
And I think, Cecily, what I've seen is that there are companies still today that come with, I will do everything and I can do whatever you ask me to do. Mm-hmm. And that's where we run into problems. Even if you think you can do everything, focus on what you've done the most of and make that your specialty selling point.
Yes. And also going back to what Chloe said about diversity and inclusion, we are in a time where that is critical. Corporations want to see what you're doing. If you're a small business, are you partnering with other small business? If you're diverse owned, does your board reflect diverse ownership? When you show up to a project, the people that you're sending to do the work, are they reflective of diversity? Are they reflective of what your company is standing on? Corporations want to see that. Then also, again, make certification a priority. If you feel that this is not worth the investment, I would advise take the time to, go to these local organizations like TIE, where there's industry or diversity membership, and just see. You never know who's going to show up. I mean, I've never heard of TIE until Monday. And I'm like, I've met some great people within the last hour, and it's been phenomenal. So, it's very impressive, and I think this is great. So I have something to put in my toolkit as a to-do list, like, okay, let's see, keep in contact with the members of TIE. But it's just important, if you make the investment, take advantage of it. Don't do it just for membership participation or just to have something on your tagline. You can pull up any supplier and they'll have all these memberships, but are they really invested in those memberships? That is really the truth. I'm actually on a local board for one of the organizations that we're national members of, and it's amazing how nobody really shows up until they hear that I'm gonna be there, but you just never know who I might bring along. And then also community service. I run our mentoring program at a global level. One of the deal breakers in the RFI, I will tell you tonight, is community service. The RFI is not complicated. It's probably for most business owners something that you can fill out in a matter of minutes. But what really gets people stuck is community service. There have been a tremendous amount of suppliers that we've turned away because they don't give back to the community. Accenture is firmly rooted in giving back. That's something that we do as employees. That's something that the corporation does overall. So our expectation is that suppliers that we work with do the same. So that is critical to giving back to your community. And of course, you already know, network, because you never know who's going to show up, like myself and Chloe.
Oh, wait, one last thing.
And so resources, how do you learn more about Accenture? How do you understand what we're doing, what we're looking for? I included what's considered kind of our sacred document is our Accenture 360 Value Report for 2022. You can put that in Google, it will come up. That literally will tell you where we're working, who our clients are, what we're doing that's innovative, what we're looking for. That's very sacred. And I will honestly say, no, I have not read it cover to cover, but I know some suppliers who have, and they will tell me what we need, what we're doing, where we're going, and I think that's great. Also, you can Google the Supplier's Guide to Doing Business with Accenture. That will also give you insight on how to work with us. So sometimes I think between those two, if you you need some nightly reading with a glass of wine, that I would recommend that.
But let me just say that this is not about Accenture. This would apply for the corporations that we work with as well. So we just wanted to give you a peek behind the curtain from the other side, the perspective of the big corporation looking to work with small and medium-sized businesses. So most of the companies that I consult with realize the value of small and medium-sized businesses. We know that you're the growth engine. And so, you all are really the people that most companies want to get to know. So the key is navigating, finding the way inside, getting to the right person, as you know. But it's really, some of these tips will help in your navigation process. So I don't know if we have any time for you to tell a quick story about the entrepreneur that, kept on trying and trying. It could, a little bit of inspiration.
Right. So I always hear that because a business is so small, they can never do work with a large corporation. And I will say AP42 is a woman-owned business out of California. She is probably the smallest business owner that I know. It's herself, and then she makes contract with maybe a couple other people, but on an as-needed basis. But she's basically kind of a one-woman operation. At the end of a conference back in 2018, we were tearing down our booth and wrapping up and complaining about how tired we were, myself and my boss, Nidra Dixon. And this woman comes up to us and says, hello. She introduced herself, and she said, I just want to get 5 minutes of your time. I just want to show you something. And of course, in our mind, we're like, okay, here we go. This is the end of the day. Why did you wait to the end of the day? But, we were very nice and cordial. And she gave us a piece of paper, and then she put her phone up to it. And we thought, okay, well, this is a capability statement. When she put her phone up to it, she steps off the paper, and it starts to tell us about her company. And we're looking like, oh my gosh, we're like totally blown away. And we're like, okay, tell us more. And so she says, she was happy to get a meeting. We pursued that. And just like what you mostly have experienced, you don't hear anything back. You're thinking, I've done all this wowing. What happened? Everything just kind of goes silent. Well, it goes silent because we're back at the office planning this huge global summit, and all of a sudden we were trying to think of ways in which we could make it more impactful, to give it that wow factor. What can we do different so it's not just like so boring? We're going to do it across multiple geographies. What is going to be different? And we thought of this one person. We contacted her, said, can you handle supporting a global summit? And she said, I can. We connected her with our marketing team, who had tremendous doubts in her ability because they realized how small she was. And they said, well, let her show us what she can do, and then we're going to come to the table and show her what we're going to do. After she showed what she was doing and what she was capable of, they said, okay, we're good, let's collaborate. She was able to partner with Accenture to produce a huge global summit. So this is long before the metaverse and all that great stuff that's out there now. She was leap years ahead. Since that time, she's graduated from our mentoring program. We've introduced her to clients because during our global summit, we had major clients there, and they wanted to know, how did you pull this off? How did you do it? We introduced her. So based on our networking, she's gotten more opportunities, but also we always defer to her. We still have cards, and she produced business cards for us and all these great things, but it elevated her business in ways that, had she not come to that conference, had she not come to us with that great idea, we would have never known her. And so you figure 2018, 5 years later, I mean, her life has totally changed. Her business has totally changed. So I just wanted to leave you with that, because you're never too small. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to know what your superpower is.